Hi y'all, Snarky J Cosplay here. As of the time of recording this video, She-Hulk is set to release in 1 week. And while I'm curious about seeing where the character of Jennifer Walters fits into the MCU, I'm also wondering, is this show set to be a disaster? She-Hulk Attorney at Law is set to follow— actually, let me look up the official synopsis. Here we go. She-Hulk Attorney at Law follows Jennifer Walters as she navigates the complicated life of a single 30-something attorney who also happens to be a green 6'7" superpowered Hulk. Now, initially, I thought that this series might be geared toward younger audiences who might like campier humor and wouldn't be bothered by, I don't know, kind of awful CGI. But this synopsis makes the series sound like it's gonna be the kind of rom-com that Adam Sandler would write, which isn't always geared towards kids. Personally, I can't say that that synopsis or even the subject of the show really pulls me in, especially when you compare it to some of Marvel's other Disney Plus series like Moon Knight, WandaVision, and Loki. Based on some of Marvel's previous shows, I don't really think She-Hulk is gonna do all that great, and I'm not sure that it would be all that great either. But I personally feel that there's two major things that this series does have going for it. For one, the cameos are sure to drive viewership, at the very least for curiosity's sake. Characters that are rumored to appear include Ben Grimm / The Thing from the Fantastic Four, and Jessica Jones from The Defenders and her own really successful, actually very entertaining Netflix series. The biggest confirmed cameo so far is the appearance of Matt Murdock / Daredevil, who is once again being played by Charlie Cox. I'll admit, if I hadn't already been planning on watching She-Hulk for the sake of reviewing it, the promise of Daredevil making another appearance surely would have done the trick. The second thing that I think this show has going for it is that it's a lot more grounded than Marvel's recent releases. The MCU hasn't had anything sort of grounded in a long time. It's been so focused on big alien fights and the multiverse that it's kind of just felt all over the place for the last 2 or 3 years maybe. It's left that human element of our favorite heroes completely lacking, and that's actually one of the parts that I find the most interesting. For me, the inevitable 10-minute big boss fight at the end of every Marvel movie and included in some of the shows is exhausting and the least interesting part of anything Marvel's ever put out. So I really like the idea of a more grounded story with a more human hero sort of coming back into the MCU, and I feel like that is ridiculous to say when the human hero that I'm talking about is a big green lady. Regardless, I find the premise of She-Hulk to be maybe a little bit refreshing. It doesn't sound like it's that far off from the things that I really liked about Daredevil, but I know for a fact it's gonna have way more campy Marvel humor than Daredevil ever had when it was on Netflix. That is one of the reasons why I think this show is already having to come out defending itself. For one, there's already countless fanboys on the internet whining about the fact that we now have a female Hulk. For those guys, I recommend picking up a comic book and seeing what's up. On the other hand, like I said earlier, the target audience doesn't feel immediately clear to me. Because she's an attorney, it seems like a courthouse comedy with rom-com elements thrown in with the more juvenile, campy humor that Marvel has to offer, and starring a big green woman. I just have so many questions. Worst of all, and it's already been flamed for it on the internet, that's CGI. I get it. It's a lot to ask a visual effects artist to animate She-Hulk and regular Hulk literally every single episode of this show. And it's not new to hear that VFX artists for Marvel and these big companies are often overworked, underpaid, and facing deadlines that feel like punishments. But in my opinion, if you're gonna do CGI characters, do them right. It's not like Marvel and Disney are lacking the cash flow and resources to get the best possible product out there. They can easily make it happen, and I'm not gonna give them a pass for cutting corners. Personally, I can't say I'm leaning one way or the other for She-Hulk. I can't tell if it's gonna be refreshing and surprisingly entertaining or just terrible. I can tell you I definitely like it to be good. I prefer to give a positive review than a negative one, and I definitely like consuming content that I actually get to enjoy. I guess we'll see if She-Hulk ends up being a breath of fresh air, or one more piece of content for the DC fanboys to laugh at when it releases on August 18th. That's all from me. I've been Snarky J. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and let me know your thoughts on the upcoming Disney Plus series She-Hulk in the comments below.